Hello, my name is Masha and welcome to another Not With Me video. If you are new here, my Not With Me videos are videos in which I make a bracelet from start to finish, I film the entire thing, and then I speed the footage up, so it's pretty much like a time lapse, and then we can watch the entire bracelet be created together and just chat about whatever I feel like chatting with you guys about. Usually it's like life updates and just whatever is on my mind at the time. So yeah, just welcome. Welcome if you're new, welcome if you've been here before, glad to have you here. So this bracelet is a absolutely beautiful sort of, what is it? A sunflower bracelet. I forgot the word for that. It's a sunflower bracelet, and I absolutely love flower bracelets. Specifically, I love making flower bracelets in the spring and the summer. I feel like it's just I really enjoy matching the bracelets that I'm making to the season, if that makes sense. And I just think this is such a summery bracelet, and it's so beautiful. So I had a blast making this, and I pretty much did this entire bracelet in one sitting because I was making this as part of my 24-hour bracelet challenge, which is a video that I recently did. I'll leave that link to the card and in the description if you want to watch it after. That was a really, really fun video to make, but my god, was it a challenge. It is called the 24-hour challenge, and it is indeed definitely a challenge, might I add. So yeah, I had a blast. I think, if I remember correctly, this bracelet took me something like 3.5 hours in total from beginning to end. I was originally going to make this bracelet as a tutorial because I thought that it looked really cool. I didn't think it was too difficult, and it's not that difficult. It's not a particularly difficult bracelet to make, but I did decide against making a tutorial for it, and instead I decided to film and Not With Me, as you're seeing here, because when I sat down and I sort of like broke down like what different pieces I'm gonna have to explain, it ended up being like something like 34 steps or something, and I thought that was a bit much. But if you're curious on that, and if you're curious on sort of generally my thought process and what goes into actually creating a tutorial specifically for sort of more complicated patterns, obviously those that have like 1 or 2 rows to explain, that's very easy and kind of obvious how I decide to explain that. But for more complex patterns like this one, if I were to make a tutorial for this, there is sort of a thought process and a sort of just general I guess way of working that goes into sort of determining how I'm going to make a tutorial for it, and I included that as part of the vlog that I did in preparation for the 24-hour bracelet challenge, which I believe was vlog 13, and I'll leave that link to the card in the description as well. So that was kind of the vlog in which I picked out the strings for all of the bracelets that I made in the end, and yeah, I sort of go and I talk about this bracelet and why I decided against making a tutorial for it. But yeah, it was a really fun bracelet to make though. Usually I don't know what changed, because as I was filming the 24-hour bracelet challenge for the second time, this was my second attempt at doing it, I was rewatching the first attempt that I did, and the first attempt was just horrible. Like, it was so bad. I basically didn't really complete the challenge. I mean, I completed the challenge in the sense that I did not for 24 hours, which is what the challenge was and what I set out to do, but I didn't make as many bracelets as I thought I would. I pretty much didn't finish, like the majority of the bracelets that I picked out to do, I didn't finish. I only finished like 2 really small ones, and so it did end up being sort of more of a failure. And I was rewatching that video while I was sort of knotting for the second one, and I keep saying within that video that like, oh, I tend to get bored when I'm making repetitive patterns, and I keep referencing bracelets I'm making. I was like, oh, well, I really got bored of it, so I decided to switch. And I was thinking now, because like I feel like my attitude towards bracelet making has changed quite significantly, and I don't know what it is, because nothing about me as a person has changed that much really, but I did used to get bored really quickly when I was making bracelets. I would always have multiple bracelets on hand that I would be making at the same time so that I could switch between different bracelets so that I didn't get bored. But that doesn't really happen to me as much anymore. And if you look at that first like challenge video, I had 7 bracelets, and I kept switching between the videos, like, oh, I'm going to work on this one for a bit, then I'm going to work on that one for a bit, and so on. I kept switching, but in the second one that I did, if you watch that one, I sat down and I made them. I sat down, I made the first one. I sat down, I made the second one. This was the first one, actually. I did this in one sitting. I think I took a break, no, I didn't do it in one sitting. I took a break to sleep. I started this on the evening of the Friday, I finished it on the morning of the Saturday, but it was pretty much one sitting. I did it in one sitting, like half of it, and then half of the other one in one sitting as well. And then for the rest of the bracelets that I did within the 24-hour challenge as well, like I just sat down and I did them. Like, I didn't really take breaks, I didn't switch. And what's more interesting as well is I didn't get bored. Like, I spent hours creating a bracelet. There's another one, there's a bigger one that I did for quite a large pattern. I don't remember how many strings exactly it was, but it was quite a large pattern that I also filmed for a Not With Me. That video would be coming out a little bit later. Obviously, I'm sort of posting the tutorials as well, so it'll be coming out a bit later. But even that one took me between 5 and 6 hours. I don't remember exactly how long. I say it in the video, but I can't recall right now. But even that one, I pretty much did that in one sitting. Like, I maybe took words are difficult to say. I maybe took breaks for food, but I don't think I really sort of switched to a different bracelet or got bored at any point in it, which I find really fascinating because, like, that is quite a significant shift, and it hasn't really been that long since I did that first video, because that first video was filmed during lockdown, so that would have been like March-ish of 2020, April maybe. That's not that long ago, that's like 2 years ago, you know? Anyway, I just found that quite interesting. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, it's just kind of curious. I still do tend to, like, when I am making bracelets, I do tend to make multiple bracelets at a time and have multiple bracelets going at a time. But that's mostly due to the fact that I really don't enjoy starting bracelets. Like, that is the part of bracelet making that not only do I enjoy the least, I actively dislike. I really don't enjoy starting bracelets because I make mistakes a lot. When I'm cutting the strings, sometimes I cut the wrong number of strings, and I get really stressed out whenever I'm cutting strings because I have to, like, make sure that it's definitely the correct number, because the amount of times I've made mistakes in that is so frustrating. Like, especially with alpha bracelets as well, like, if you accidentally cut the wrong number, sorry, it's difficult to speak for some reason, of bass strings, then that's a huge problem, because then you're gonna have to, it's just annoying, right? And so I get really anxious when I'm cutting strings to make sure that I'm actually cutting the correct amount and that I've got all the correct colors and all of that. And then when I'm making the loop, which I typically do like a loop and then 2 triangle ends coming off of that, making the triangle ends, I like the way that they look, but I actually really dislike making them because I constantly sort of forget the string order or make mistakes in the string order, and it's just really fiddly. And then if you do make a mistake there and you notice it later, it's just such a mess to sort of untangle. And anyway, it's not necessarily anything against, like, the technique of triangle ends. Obviously, I really, really love those. They're my favorite way to start bracelets. It's more so just, like, starting bracelets in general is, like, a big thing. And the part that I enjoy about bracelet making is actually making the bracelets. So starting them is something that I don't particularly enjoy, which is why I think, like, a lot of the ways people exchange bracelets, like in bracelet communities, like a lot of the ways that I've seen people do, and I've also exchanged bracelets with people sometimes before as well, is people will exchange, like, started bracelets. So they will make, like, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters or so of a bracelet, and then just send that, and then someone else will finish that. I think I have a video called trying to figure out a pattern I don't remember what I titled it, but basically, I'll leave it linked in the card and in the description so you can see it. But so basically, someone sent me the bracelet and I didn't want them to send me the pattern. So I was just like, okay, cool. I'm going to have a look at this bracelet and try and figure out how to actually create the pattern from the bracelet and not, do you know what I mean? Like that, it's a very convoluted way of explaining what actually happened. But yeah, basically I didn't have the pattern. I was just trying to figure out what the bracelet was and continuing it that way. But my point is that, like, a lot of the time, that's how people exchange bracelets. They send each other, like, pieces of the bracelet that they've already started, and I think that a lot of people have this issue, and that's kind of why that sort of thing is really popular, because people don't like starting bracelets, but they enjoy making the bracelets, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of like my favorite part of it. And so that's back to the conversation of sort of starting a bunch of bracelets at the same time. That's why I have a lot of bracelets going at the same time typically. Is because, like, I just start a bunch so that at the same time, since I'm starting a bracelet anyway, I'm going to have to do it anyway. I might as well do it for, like, a bunch at once so that I can, like, suffer through it, quote unquote, at the same time. But yeah, it kind of is similar to how I read books as well, because I'm constantly reading multiple books at the same time. And typically, they will always be different genres. I can't read multiple books of the same genre at the same time, because I get confused. But they're the same genre, so I'll read like a mystery book, a romance book, and like a fantasy book. One of them will be in audio, one of them will be in digital, and one of them will be a physical paperback. Point is, really difficult for me to start books as well. That's also my least favorite part of reading. I really enjoy reading, but starting a book can be quite challenging for me. I've got like a very short attention span. But once I am into it, and I'm going to be reading like crazy. I will not put that book down if I enjoy it, because I'm just going to read it until I finish it. So having multiple books going, I'm like in different points of the books at the same time. There's only one book that I'm sort of trying to get into. One of them I'm already like in the middle of, and the other one I'm like slowly finishing. I find that works for me as well. And so that's kind of interesting how, you know, it's kind of similar across both of my main hobbies, which, if you didn't know, reading is also one of my main hobbies, apart from bracelet making. So yeah, anyway, I really, really enjoyed this bracelet. This was a really fun bracelet. I think it turned out super cool. I really also enjoyed the 24-hour bracelet challenge, so if you want to watch that, definitely do that. That was such a fun video to film, and I feel like it just was such a success in comparison to my previous one that I feel like bragging about that video. So yeah, I hope you like it, and I hope you like today's video as well. Quick reminder for those of you who don't know, I wrote a book. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Friendship Bracelets, and it comes out on August 23rd in the US, about a month later everywhere else in the world, and it is available for pre-order now. The book is like a collection of tutorials for beginners. It takes you from the very, very basics and walks you through how to make different bracelets, and leaves you with quite a lot of information and knowledge to be able to create bracelets for yourself. I really love it. I had such a great time writing it, and I really hope that you enjoy it as well. If you do end up pre-ordering, make sure to send a screenshot of your order confirmation to my publisher at rockynook.com/friendship to be entered to win in a giveaway. There's gonna be 4 winners, and you're gonna win a bracelet of mine, a bunch of my favorite string with like multicolored and sparkly strings, and some bracelet materials as well. It's a really cool giveaway. And before I go, I also want to give a special shout out to my patrons, and especially my top supporters whose names are on screen right now. Thank you so much for your support. It is with your support that I'm able to do these videos, so I really do appreciate it. And if you also want to support the work that I do on this channel, you can become a patron at the link in the description. But in any case, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I think this is such a cute bracelet. If you make it as well, make sure to tag me, because I'd love to see it. It's such a summery and fun pattern. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!